she's completely flirtatious with him.
I'm just shocked at how many lies were told, okay?
So, it's official. Blake Lively cheated on Ryan Reynolds, or at least tried to, with Justin Baldoni. And now, all the missing pieces are falling into place, like a scandalous Hollywood jigsaw puzzle. This isn't just about a fake feminist getting caught. No, Blake is the worst kind, the kind who hides behind the language of empowerment while pulling strings, twisting truths, and manipulating narratives to get exactly what she wants. When Justin Baldoni, a married man, shut her down, that's when the mask slipped. She didn't take rejection lightly. She went straight for the jugular, trying to drag his name through the mud. Blake Lively, the supposed picture of elegance, the devoted wife, the Hollywood golden girl. Turns out she had a very different script running behind the scenes. While the public saw her filing lawsuits and crying about being made uncomfortable, on set, she was actually chasing after Baldoni like a crazed superfan. She really thought she could have any man she wanted, no questions asked. But when Baldoni gave her a clear, respectful no, Blake didn't just walk away, she declared war. Instead of walking away with an ounce of dignity, she did what far too many entitled starlets do, flipped the script and played the victim. And now, the receipts are dropping like bombs. Ryan Reynolds, once the supportive husband, is furious because this isn't some innocent on-set flirtation. This is his wife actively trying to cheat on him, failing miserably, and then weaponizing the #MeToo movement as part of a twisted revenge plot. And let's not act like this was some isolated moment of weakness. Blake Lively has a pattern, a habit of catching feelings for her co-stars like it's part of her job description. First, it was Penn Badgley on Gossip Girl. Then, she got far too cozy with Ben Affleck while filming The Town, and let's not pretend we've forgotten how she snatched Ryan Reynolds himself while he was still married to Scarlett Johansson. That didn't stop her. She slid right into his life like it was an open invitation. Yet, this is the same woman who constantly paints herself as the victim, the one mistreated, misunderstood, and underestimated in the industry. Meanwhile, she's been hopping from one Hollywood power player to the next, like she's playing A-list musical chairs. This time, she set her sights on Justin Baldoni. Why wouldn't she? He's handsome, respected in Hollywood, and, most importantly, happily married, and we all know Blake loves a challenge. She truly believed her pretty privilege would be enough. Bat the lashes, flash a smile, and boom, another man falls. But Baldoni wasn't playing that game. He shut her down fast, and Blake did not like that. She tried everything, pushing for steamier scenes, angling for more on-screen chemistry, even dropping flirty comments under his workout videos. It was all too obvious. And then came the now infamous quote. She actually looked Justin Baldoni in the eye and said, "Amazing. Now try it pregnant." Excuse me? What? She was trying so hard to grab his attention, and he was not biting. And let's talk about the audacity. This is the same woman who refused to work with an intimacy coordinator. The same woman who later claimed she felt unsafe on set. It makes sense. Blake, you weren't uncomfortable when you were rewriting your own steamy scenes, pushing for extra takes, and practically begging for physical intimacy. But the second it all blew up in your face, suddenly you're the victim. When Justin Baldoni still didn't give her the attention she craved, her ego took a massive hit, so big in fact, that she turned it into a full-blown scandal. This, right here, is Hollywood narcissism at its peak. Blake Lively didn't just handle rejection poorly. She weaponized the Me Too movement against a man who simply didn't want to cheat on his wife. Imagine being so entitled that instead of accepting a no like a normal person, you decide, you know what, let me ruin his entire career instead. And of course, she needed a cover story. So, Blake spun a wild tale that Justin was being inappropriate, that he added steamy scenes, that he made comments about her body. But then the receipts dropped. Leaked messages and behind-the-scenes clips revealed the truth. Blake was the one obsessing over her body image. She was the one pushing for specific looks and demanding sensual revisions to scenes. And that whole, "he called me fat" accusation, completely false. The footage showed Justin actually being supportive, reassuring her not to stress, and telling her she looked great. But Blake twisted it into a dramatic victim narrative. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds was out here going Ellen for his wife, thinking he was defending her honor, standing by her like a real-life hero. But in reality, Blake was running around chasing another man. Ryan was so caught up trying to tear down Baldoni that he didn't even realize the real betrayal was standing right next to him. And let's be honest, Ryan had to start getting suspicious when Blake suddenly wanted to rewrite entire movie scenes because yeah, that's totally normal behavior, right? Imagine thinking your wife is just deeply passionate about her craft, only to realize she was crafting something else entirely. A new relationship with her co-star? When things started falling apart and people began poking holes in her story, Blake pulled her most desperate stunt yet, a fake voicemail. Yup, a conveniently timed recording where Justin supposedly apologizes for making her uncomfortable. But here's where it all unraveled. Tech experts got hold of the file and did a metadata analysis. What they found was a total mess. The voicemail appeared chopped up, spliced together, and edited to frame Baldoni, given everything else that had come out. It wasn't far-fetched to think Blake had someone create a deepfake voicemail just to keep her lies afloat. Let's be real, at this point, her credibility is in the trash. The level of manipulation is off the charts. Blake actually thought she could play the fragile, innocent victim while orchestrating an elaborate takedown of a man who simply said no to her. What does that say about her character? She truly believed that because she's Blake Lively. Rejection wasn't even possible. A man turning her down? Unthinkable. And so, when reality smacked her in the face, she threw a tantrum not behind closed doors, but publicly, trying to burn a man's life down. Then, out of nowhere, a second version of that same voicemail leaked, allegedly featuring Baldoni apologizing again, but this time, the red flags were even bigger. The pacing was weird, the tone inconsistent, and parts sounded robotic. Experts pointed out what most people were already thinking. It was fake, AI-generated, deep-faked, manufactured to keep a collapsing narrative alive. Blake really thought she was untouchable Hollywood royalty who could have whatever she wanted, whenever she wanted. But when Baldoni didn't play along, she chose revenge over reality. And now, Ryan Reynolds is standing there looking like a fool for backing her. Up through all of it, the saddest part, Blake thought she'd walk out of this scandal being praised as a brave, empowered woman taking down a predator. Instead, she's being exposed for what she really is, a manipulative, entitled liar. Her entire plan backfired spectacularly. And Ryan, he's finally realizing that the real villain in this story wasn't Justin Baldoni, it was the woman he married. She was standing right next to him the whole time. Hollywood's golden girl, but now, Blake Lively has lost her. And she has no one to blame but herself. Blake really thought she could finesse her way out of this mess, charm her way through the storm like she always had. But instead, she dug herself into one of the deepest holes Hollywood has ever seen. Let's rewind. After Justin Baldoni rejected her, and yes, rejected her, did Blake move on like a normal person? Not even close. She went full mode. She knew she couldn't just cry about being turned down like a regular human being. So, she played the one card entitled, "Power-hungry Hollywood actresses always pull when their egos get bruised." She turned herself into the victim. Blake went as far as filing an official sexual harassment complaint against Baldoni, claiming he made inappropriate advances toward her on set. Now, pause and think about the audacity of that. This is the same woman who was throwing herself at Baldoni, pushing for steamier scenes, rejecting intimacy coordinators, flirting in deep Ms., and even leaving thirsty comments on his workout videos. But suddenly, she's the victim. She's the one being harassed. Sure, Blake, whatever helps you sleep at night. But here's where it really unravels. Baldoni didn't roll over and let her destroy his reputation. Instead of going quiet, he hit back hard with receipts. Behind-the-scenes footage, unfiltered metadata, leaked messages, and it all painted a very different picture. One that didn't just contradict Blake's claims, it obliterated them. Let's break it down. Check. Claimed Baldoni smelled her neck and made creepy comments about how good she smelled. But guess what? The footage shows her complaining about how bad her spray tan smelled, and Baldoni simply reassuring her it wasn't noticeable. Nothing creepy, just professional courtesy. She claimed he called her hot and unnecessarily extended their kissing scenes, but the receipts show Blake was the one pushing for those extensions. She was initiating the added intimacy. Baldoni looked uncomfortable and kept deferring to the crew. And this wasn't just tabloid gossip. Hollywood legal experts got involved. They started questioning whether Blake had actually tampered with evidence in an active legal battle. If proven, that's not just bad press, that's potential fraud, defamation, and obstruction. Serious legal consequences. But instead of saving herself, Blake doubled down. She tried to spin, manipulate, and cover up, and ended up making everything 100 times worse. And guess who finally started waking up? Ryan Reynolds. For months, Ryan had been Blake's loudest supporter, standing by her, defending her in public, believing every carefully crafted word. But once the evidence started surfacing, the leaked messages, the metadata, the behind-the-scenes footage, the story stopped adding up. He started asking questions, looking deeper, And then came the breaking point. Leaked DMs revealed that Blake had been calling Ryan an obstacle, her own husband. She was secretly messaging Baldoni behind Ryan's back, talking about how to work around him, how to keep things hidden, how to get what she wanted without him noticing. Imagine being Ryan standing in the spotlight, proudly defending your wife only to find out she was playing you the entire time. You weren't her partner, you were just another pawn in her game. Ryan's wake-up call came fast and brutal. Witnesses say he finally snapped when he discovered Blake had invited Baldoni to their penthouse behind his back.